Welcome back, everybody. So I wanted to do a little story time style video with you guys today and talk about the first time I ever open carried. I've alluded to this in several videos I've done in the past, but I haven't actually told the story. I told the story of the first time I concealed carried in a video that you guys have seen by now, but I want to talk about open carry. Now, I'm not going to get too much into the whole open carry versus concealed carry argument, debate, discussion in this video. That's going to be a future video. I don't want to make this video super long, but I figured I'd just tell you guys the first time I open carried. I do like open carry, if nothing else, because it's our right, and I like exercising my rights. But that being said, I had my whole childhood and young adult life thought that open carry was illegal. That's what I had been told by family, friends, law enforcement. You know, just that was the general thing in Alabama growing up at the time is, oh no, open carry is illegal. That's illegal. Only cops can do that. You can't do that. And so I believed it for so long. And then when I actually found out that it was in fact legal to open carry in Alabama, and you didn't even need a license to do it, I felt very strongly about wanting to open carry and change the perception and get the information out there to people. So I got involved with a advocacy group for open carry in the state of Alabama, and I met some wonderful people there, still friends with a lot of them. A lot of great learning and mentorship and stuff like that happened along with advocating for our rights. And I really enjoyed that group. I was on the forum at the time. I was in college out of state, so mostly just interacting with people through the forum and a little bit on Facebook. And then I went home for, I don't know, Christmas, or I went home for some reason, and they were having a meetup while I was home. In fact, I think they made sure to plan it specifically for a day I would be home, which was, I thought was really cool. You know, a bunch of older guys for the most part, but they were all very accepting and happy and excited to have a young, you know, barely 21-ish year old guy, you know, join the group and be involved and have the same passion about our rights that they did. But anyway, so they had this meetup at Cracker Barrel. And if you've never been to a Cracker Barrel, I'm sorry. You should fix that the next time you go on a road trip or something if there's not one in your area. Good food. But they had the meetup at Cracker Barrel. So they had the back section reserved. And if you do know Cracker Barrel, you walk in like the gift shop area, and then you have like usually 3 different sections of the restaurant divided out. We were all the way on the other end from the gift shop where you walk into. So I walked in, and I had my PX4 that I've done a review on. That was my open carry and concealed carry gun at the time. I put it in a thumb brake Uncle Mike's nylon holster with a clip and clipped it to my belt, making lots of carry mistakes already. I know. I was young. I was learning. And, you know, tucked my shirt in. Went to Cracker Barrel, walked in, made a beeline for the very back wall. Just straight on back. I was super nervous. You know, it's not like when you're concealed carrying and you're nervous that people know you have a gun and there's no logic behind it. I was open carrying. It was on my belt. Like that, it's very, very obvious to anybody paying attention that I have a gun. So walked all the way to the back wall and then turned. I'm right-handed, so my pistol was on my right side. Turned, put my side to the wall, and followed the wall as much as I could. I did still have to walk with the gun exposed to some tables as I was walking back to the back. And I get back there because I had asked somebody where the meeting was, and they told me, and I'm looking around, and they all look at me, and they look at my belt, look at me, and go, "I think you're looking for us." And it's like, yeah, I think I am. Sat down. I was super nervous. I was so nervous. It was like the first time concealed carrying all over again. But it was a really good experience. And I met with these guys, and you know, I had told my family what I was going to go do, and I was going to go meet with these people and all this, and they were concerned, and they were like, you're going to go hang out with these crazy people and do this and that. And it was nothing like that. Everybody there was nice, down to earth, humble. They were cracking jokes. We were talking about different guns and politics and just your normal American stuff, right? Like it was like I was just having lunch with a bunch of dudes and we all just happened to have pistols on our hips. And it was a great time. It was a lot of fun. Since then, or after that, we had several more meetups. We had conferences. We would get together and do our big conferences once a year. We would go and do advocacy and support for education, essentially teaching civilians and law enforcement that this is in fact legal and it's a responsible thing to do, that kind of thing. But yeah, I was super nervous about it. So from this story, if you guys are interested in open carry, if you want to learn more about it, or if you are thinking about getting into it yourself, there's a few lessons I'd like to teach you from just this story. I've got more open carry stories I may tell later on in the video, but big 2 takeaways. 1, carry in a good holster. Get a good holster, preferably retention holster, but at the very minimum, a good holster. The Safari Lands would be a good choice. Dogs are running around upstairs. Sorry, guys. A good Kydex holster with like a spring loop over the top. I'll show you guys that in a future video. I have a couple of them. Something with retention is what I would recommend because the gun is out in the open. And don't carry on a paddle or a clip either. Make sure it's on belt loops on your belt because it is one of the easiest ways for people to get your gun is to just take the holster with it. So that's lesson number 1. Carry in a good holster, not an Uncle Mike's nylon thing. Like, just please don't. And for the love of God, don't carry in an open top nylon or leather holster where your gun can just fall out on you if you're sitting down or running or whatever. Like, just please don't do that. At least have some retention. The second point, and I think this is the one that surprised me the most, is people really don't notice. After I got used to the idea of carrying, most of the time, people didn't notice. Mrs. Country and I have gone out in public a few times, and where we live right now, it is legal to open carry. And when we go out, sometimes, oh, hey, did you see that guy was open carrying? She said, no, I had no idea. I pointed out another guy yesterday, actually, in a parking lot who was open carrying, was walking to his car. And the only reason she actually saw the gun is because I pointed it out to her before he got out of her field of view. She just didn't notice. Most people don't pay attention like that. So you're not as obvious as you think you are if you're open carrying on your hip. Now, the caveat to that is if you're open carrying on like a chest holster, a shoulder holster, a thigh holster, something that's not here in this general area of the body, people are going to notice for sure. Like very, very, very few people won't notice that because that's more obvious. It's not in this hip-ish region, that region where we just culturally kind of like don't linger and stare with our eyes. And just people don't notice that kind of stuff as much. I will say though that if you're open carrying on the belt and you walk past kids or people who are sitting down, they're more likely to notice because their face is at eye level with your gun. So then you're more likely to be noticed. But I've never had any significant issues with it. Another story, since I told you guys I'd tell one. I was open carrying in an AT&T store one day, and I was at the counter talking to the AT&T guy, and these 2 older ladies came in. It was a mother and her daughter, but they were both senior citizens. Very sweet ladies, very nice. They came in, sat down at a table, waited their turn, and as they're sitting there, probably 4 feet from me on the same side as my gun, they look over, because they're at eye level with my gun, and noticed the gun and said, oh, are you a police officer? And I said, no ma'am, just a law-abiding citizen that's carrying a gun for self-defense. And the older lady, the mother, got very freaked out, and she was, oh, well, that makes me very uncomfortable, and like being very, very judgy. I mean, you guys get the stereotype. I don't have to say it. That kind of thing, like clinching her pearls type thing. And I just very politely and calmly responded, well, ma'am, it's legal. It's perfectly fine. to do. I'm obviously not threatening anybody. I'm just carrying the gun to protect myself and good people like you in case something bad were to happen. And this is before the media was publicizing and what's the word? I can't think of the word. I'll put it in text somewhere. These mass shootings. It wasn't this big thing in everybody's mind at the time. But, you know, that's kind of the idea of why I open carried. It's faster than concealed carry. It's, you know, for me, for a lot of people, it's more comfortable because you're not trying to hide the gun inside your clothes. You know, there's, again, pros and cons, not getting into all that. But she was just very, very uncomfortable with me having a gun. And I told her, I was like, ma'am, you realize that people carry guns every day and you have no idea because they're concealing their guns. They're hiding them from you so you can't see them. At least this way, you know I have a gun. And that made her sit and think about it. I don't think I changed her mind that day. And, you know, she may have never changed her mind, and that's totally fine. You know, it doesn't have to be for everybody. But those kinds of interactions, when I did have them, when people did notice, were kind of my big driving factor for wanting to open carry. Yes, I like it more. It's more comfortable. It's faster to the draw in most cases than concealed carry. But it was more, for me, it was more of an educational tool. It was me promoting our right, our Second Amendment right, shall not be infringed, to the public and to people who, and I'm not using this in a derogatory way, but who were ignorant of the law. They were ignorant of what was and wasn't okay. They may be ignorant about guns completely. They know nothing about them. And that was a way for me to engage with those people, because I'm not the type that's going to go like talk to people and like approach them and get in their face about stuff. But if somebody approaches me and talks to me about something, then I will absolutely sit and have that conversation with them because they started it. And that's just kind of how I feel about the whole thing. But yeah, I just wanted to tell those couple of quick stories real quick, kind of give you guys some insight into a little bit of my concealed or open carry past and what I think of it in general. If you're interested in open carry, if you've never done it, it's something that you think you might want to do or might want to get into, post a comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the subject. If you have open carried, if you have any interesting or fun or scary or just, you know, weird open carry stories, post those in the comments below too. I'd like to hear those, and I'm sure everybody else watching the video would as well. Other than that, guys, that's all I got for you. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the like button and the subscribe button. Go ahead and ring the bell as well. If you do, I'd really appreciate that. And yeah, if you have any questions about any of this or holster options, open carry, general questions, whatever, post those in the comments. Or if you'd feel more comfortable, you can send me a DM over on Instagram and give me a follow while you're there, please. I'd appreciate that. Or you can send me an email. My Instagram and my email are both in the description of this video, so feel free. I'd love to sit and chat with you guys. But yeah, thanks again for watching. I really appreciate it, guys. Y'all take it easy, roll tide, and I'll see you later.